What do you take away? Where do you think his legacy lies? How will history remember him?
Well, look, he definitely won an election no one expected the Tories to win in the middle of 2019. I voted for the Brexit Party in those European elections because the Tory party was absolutely mired in the whole Brexit paralysis in Parliament. I think, if I remember rightly, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but the Tories ended up behind the Green Party in that
Sixth,
election.
I think,
yeah. And so to go from that to a majority of 80, in about 6 months was a considerable achievement. It was down to Boris to a large extent. He stopped Jeremy Corbyn becoming Prime Minister. He got Brexit over the line. And I became, you introduced me as a former advisor to Boris Johnson, but it was very much former. I only lasted a little while because when I went into Downing Street, I saw a change in Boris that really was quite stark. The guy that listened to people, that was open to all different sources of advice, I think he suddenly thought he could almost walk on water because of the enormity of his triumph. And the guy, when he was Mayor of London, who really was open to different perspectives, suddenly stopped listening, relied too much on Dominic Cummings, and I felt the administration was going in the wrong direction, and that's why I left. And since then, all the problems that Liz Truss is about to inherit, I think it will be Liz Truss, the Channel crossings, the extent of taxation, the consequences of lockdown, etc., etc. We all know what the problems are in the country at the moment. They all happened under Boris's watch. So I think history's going to be very mixed.
What do you think he's going to do next? I mean, I can't imagine he's going to go quietly into the night.
Well, even if he believed that he was going quietly into the night, even if
he wouldn't be able to do it.
Because we all love talking about Boris.
Yeah.
Whether you hate Boris or you love Boris, he's box office. I was the US columnist for the Times during the election between Trump and Hillary Clinton, and I used to go to Hillary Clinton rallies, and I never wanted to go to one again because they were so dull. Forget the politics, but Trump was interesting. It was fascinating. People, the banks of faces behind him, people smiled, they laughed.
Well, and people say, and he was funny. Like
he was funny. And people are bored with... You and I love politics, and hopefully lots of our viewers love politics, but lots of people don't like politics. And someone like Trump and Boris comes along, and because they're as much celebrities as politicians, they entertain people. And so Boris will continue to distract from whoever is the next Tory leader, whoever is the next Prime Minister. And he will need to be very disciplined not to overshadow them.
Let's just tilt forward if we can, because there is going to be a new Prime Minister in a matter of days now. As you alluded to, it's almost certainly going to be Liz Truss, unless we're all going to have to eat lots and lots of humble pie.
Lots of humble pie, yeah.
But she is going to face an uphill struggle, from the start, isn't she? The in-tray is exceptional.
Yeah, so we say that Liz Truss is going to win the Conservative leadership, but what kind of win, what kind of victory is it? She'll have a honeymoon, but how long will it last? I think those first 3-4 days are going to be critical. I think she needs to apologise for the mess that this summer has been. No one has really been impressed, I think, including Conservative Party members, by the extended nature of a contest which has meant questions about how people are going to pay their energy bills have gone unanswered. She needs to apologise. She needs to appoint a cabinet of all the talents, try to bring the Conservative Party back together. But most of all, within those first 2 or 3 days, an emergency budget, an emergency statement of some kind, really to reassure people that she has a plan to help particularly the poorest people in our country. But, middle-class, middle-income families are going to be struggling too to get through the energy crisis.